Ladies and gentlemen, this came out on ABC News June 21st, 2020. Minority jail officers were barred from guarding ex-cop charged with Floyd's death. This is a complaint that recently came out. So I guess they're afraid of retaliation, so they have white guards only on Derek Chauvin in jail, which should not be the case. He should have to deal with black COs, whether he like it or not. 8 Minnesota correctional officers of color have filed a discrimination complaint alleging that they were barred from guarding the white former police officer charged with murdering George Floyd, a black man. The 8 minority officers assigned to the Ramsey County Adult Detention Center in St. Paul complained to the Minnesota Department of Human Rights that the decision to segregate them and keep them away from fired Minneapolis officer Derek Chauvin and the entire floor he was being housed on at the jail, which they should not be doing that at all. It's very obvious they're afraid of some sort of retaliation on him in prison. And they think the black COs might try to do it. Have there been ever black prisoners put in that same jail and they would only let black COs watch them? I doubt that. And it should not be done in this case either. If those officers normally work on that floor, they should be able to work there regardless to whether Derek Chauvin is there or not. This is blatant discrimination. I am not aware of a similar situation where white officers were segregated from an inmate, reads a statement in the complaint from a black officer with an anonymously, so this was filed anonymously on Friday with the Department of Human Rights through his lawyer. The employee called his superintendent order the most overt discriminatory act that has occurred during my employment, and that it left some of his colleagues of color in tears and demoralized that their superiors thought they couldn't professionally carry out their duties because of their race. My fellow officers of color and I were and continue to be deeply humiliated, distressed, and negatively impacted by the segregation order. The officer wrote in the complaint, the order and Ramsey County failed to adequately address it have caused a hostile work environment for officers of color at Ramsey County Correctional Facility, Adult Detention Unit. Well, you know what? They need to get rid of the superintendent. He needs to be removed from his job. Another minority officer who described herself as Hispanic said she and other officers of color were reassigned to the third floor of the jail once Chauvin was brought to the fifth floor of the facility, and that they were instructed to remain there even when all hands emergency response was called. When we arrived on the third floor, we realized that the facility's employees of color were all on that floor and that we had been segregated from the fifth floor, the Hispanic officer said in a statement contained in the complaint. During the same afternoon, an A-team response was called, which normally means there's an emergency and correctional officers are to drop what they're doing in order to assist the affected inmate and help transport the inmate to the fifth floor. Several officers of color responded to the call, but were prohibited from taking the inmate to the fifth floor due to the order to segregate. Bonnie Smith, a Minneapolis attorney representing the 8 officers, said during a news conference on Sunday outside the jail that her clients have chosen to remain anonymous for fear of retaliation. The incident occurred on May 29th when Chauvin was brought to the jail's fifth floor to be processed after he was initially arrested on charges of third-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter in Floyd's death. The murder charge against Chauvin was later upped to second degree, and he has since been moved to the Minnesota Correctional Facility in Oak Park Heights, where he is being held on a $1.25 million bond. He has not yet entered a plea. Chauvin was captured in a citizen cell phone video on May 25th, kneeling on the back and neck of Floyd as he laid in a prone position with his face to the pavement, calling out for his dead mother and repeatedly saying, "I can't breathe," until he became unresponsive. Floyd was later pronounced dead at the hospital, setting off protests and acts of violence in Minneapolis and in cities throughout the nation, actually worldwide. 3 other Minneapolis police officers involved in the fatal encounter with Floyd have also been fired from the police department and criminally charged with aiding and abetting second-degree murder and aiding and abetting second-degree manslaughter. Jail Superintendent Steve Linden admitted issuing the order to keep minority officers from Chauvin after he was given 10 minutes notice by the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension that Chauvin would be arriving at the facility, according to a statement he gave investigators that was provided to ABC News on Sunday by Ramsey County Sheriff's Office. Recognizing that the murder of George Floyd was likely to create a particular acute racialized trauma, I felt I had an immediate duty to protect and support employees who may have been traumatized and may have heightened ongoing trauma by having to deal with Chauvin. That's a bullshit statement. That's a bullshit statement. Okay. In my opinion, they were looking out for Chauvin. You know, he gets privileges even behind bars. Okay, out of care and concern, without the comfort of time, I made the decision to limit exposure to employees of color, to a murder suspect who could potentially aggravate those feelings. No, you didn't want anybody retaliating on him, and you thought, because y'all all think like that. You always think some retaliation is going to come from us. You always act like that. The sheriff's office claimed 3 minority officers were reassigned to different posts at the jail prior to Chauvin's arrival, and that the order was only in effect for 45 minutes, according to a statement from the sheriff's office. Lennon, in his statement to investigators, said he realized he'd made an error and reversed the order after staff members expressed concerns. Well, yeah, you did it after the fact. You did it after he arrived and he was settled in there. Then all of a sudden you realize you made an error. This is bullshit. This man is full of crap. Okay? He's full of crap. How come you didn't realize you made an error before Chauvin arrived, but after he arrived, got settled on the fifth floor? Oh, now a light bulb came on. Get out of here. I ain't fooling no damn body. Then I met with the individuals that were working at the time and explained to them what my thought process was at the time and assured them that the decision was made out of concern for them and was in no way related to a concern regarding their professionalism or Chauvin safety. Safety. No, it was for Chauvin and Chauvin only. Liddon's statement reads, I realized that I had erred in judgment and issued an apology to the affected employees. Asks if Liddon has been disciplined. Of course not. Come on now. Of course not. Of course not. Fletcher met with the complaining officers on June 4th and planned to hold an additional meeting with them following the investigation. Smith alleged that instead of immediately offering her client a formal apology, the sheriff's department issued a false statement to the Reuters news agency over a week ago, insisting there was no truth to the employees' claims of the segregation order. Okay. So, Superintendent Linden actions created lack of trust and respect for minority officers, Smith said. Ramsey County segregation order caused immediate and long-lasting damage. It has made ongoing to work, to work difficult for the affected employees. So they're saying that, you know, I'm sorry, the superintendent, he should be removed from his job for making this kind of decision. You don't give in to this sort of thing, um, or try to segregate. I used to work for a chain of hospitals, and I was a manager at a call center. And ladies and gentlemen, there was a couple that came into one of the hospitals and they made a request that no black nurses be in the room. The woman was getting ready to deliver, and they made the request that no black nurses or personnel would be allowed in their room or allowed around their baby. Now, what the hospital should have done was tell them to leave and deliver their baby somewhere else. But instead of doing that, they complied and gave into what this racist couple wanted. Well, they later got in a lot of trouble for that because there were black nurses and other personnel that worked on, in that maternity ward. They ended up getting sued and they had to pay an undisclosed amount of money to these employees. What they should have done was, and even the CEO told them they better not ever do that again. If somebody came to the hospital and they made that kind of request not to have black people around in their rooms, he told them, let them pack up and go go to another hospital. You don't accommodate that. But the supervisor at the time on that floor, the nursing supervisor, allowed and accommodated this racist couple. And she later got fired. You don't accommodate these people. You don't do that. And they should not have done this for Chauvin. He's charged with second-degree murder. You don't accommodate nobody like that. Get the hell out of here. Okay, so the officers are demanding a retraction of the statement the sheriff's office gave Reuters and the comprehensive in-person diversity and anti-bias training to they want everybody to get diversity training. Come on, you cannot train racism out of people. I wish y'all would stop insulting us with this stuff. Everybody is bright enough to know you cannot train that out of people. All right, so the lawyer says her clients are also asking for a formal apology from the sheriff's office and comprehension for their emotional stress and lost earnings, adding that some of the officers have had to take time off or give up overtime and promotions due to their distress. While a sheriff's office spokesperson said on Sunday, a chief deputy with the agency is conducting a probe, and Smith said none of her clients have yet to be interviewed for the investigation. So, special accommodations for a murderer, because they really, and I'm telling you, they feared retaliation from these officers. That's why they took them off and surrounded Eric Chauvin with a bunch of white COs. Get out of here. No, that should not be allowed. But y'all, please tell me what you think. I'm not surprised in this system. These are the kind of things we can expect. It's been 5 centuries of this. Why stop now, right? Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.